Hi there, this is Dana. Today I'm talking about ending medication madness. And so for those who don't take medication, this might not be for you. For those who are prescribed medication and you're not having any negative side effects or any serious problems with your medicine, this might not be for you either. You could feel free to scroll on by. But for those people who are prescribed medications, perhaps there's one or more medications that you are taking at this moment and you are finding yourself with serious side effects, with a lot of negative interactions. Perhaps you're going through some wicked withdrawals and you would really like to stop taking the medicine, or you feel powerless to end medication madness, then this video is for you. My journey began over 10 years ago. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, herniated discs, and a lot of low lumbar back problems. And there was also a lot of other little things here and there that were going on with my thyroid and kidneys, and it was just a really strange time in my life where it seemed like everything happened all at once. Almost like you're a car and you break down and there's just so many things going on that just need repaired. And back in those days, I used to believe in conventional medicine. I used to trust my doctor, and when my physician would say, to try a particular medicine, I would usually agree. But I'm not the person I used to be. Through these 10 years, from 2008 to 2018, I've been through hell and back. I've endured some nightmarish experiences, especially with benzodiazepines and Cymbalta. There's been other drugs, of course, gabapentin, Prozac, Adderall, and different drugs that were added to the cocktail of chemicals. And it's funny how you could see things differently. So as I just review where I've been and where I am now, for starters, I never would have agreed to take these medications if I had known up front the nightmare that I would be experiencing. If a doctor would have given me a lot more education, a lot more feedback, if they would have just been honest and told me that there was a potential of having wicked withdrawals and a physical dependency on benzodiazepines, I can guarantee you I would have said, no thank you, and I would have moved on. But things don't always happen how we hope and how we plan, and we grow. So I really see this wellness journey as a time of self-growth, personal growth, spiritual growth. I'm not the same person who I was back then. And I do consider myself a stronger, more encouraging person because I've been through serious challenges that were near death. And it's changed me. You can't go through a nightmare and survive and be the same person on the other side. So the person who I was back then is not who I am today. And while I wish it never would have happened, and while I wish things could have been different and it would have had a different outcome as far as the withdrawals from Ativan and from the horrible side effects from Cymbalta that made me suicidal, I could look back and say, wow, I wish that didn't happen. But, sometimes we go through a really painful season and there is something positive down the road. So today, understand that if you are taking medications right now, and if you are prescribed one or more pharmaceutical drug and you are enduring some really horrific side effects, possibly you are suicidal, possibly you have been going through wicked withdrawals yourself, or you're trying to taper a medication, understand that it is a long, lengthy process and it's best to not do it alone. However, I do understand that oftentimes patients do feel powerless and we do feel helpless because when we're not getting the answers from our physician and our family doesn't have the answers, and sometimes they feel powerless and they feel helpless, it really puts us in a position where then we are isolated and we're not getting the support that we may need. Looking back, I see things differently as far as medicine, and I believe that our world really looks to physicians for this magic pill. People want this magic potion or this magic pill. They just want something to work. And I understand that if you are having physical pain or emotional pain, you want it to end. You don't want to suffer any longer. You don't want to go through this agonizing discomfort, and it could be horrible. So I definitely get it because I've been through it. But because I have grown through this, I have learned through this, I have become an advocate for the mental health industry. I see things in a new light. And I see that today, all we have to do is turn on our television or start looking through a magazine, or we could be on the internet. And there are so many drug commercials, and they might not give the full picture, the full scope of what you're really going to experience with that medication. They'll give you a little glimpse of potential negative side effects. Of course, each person is unique. Our background's different, our medical history's different, the way we respond and react to a prescription can be different. So we have to understand that everyone is different, and we have to be respectful that each person's experience then is different. And so there are some people who have watched my past videos and they just don't understand. They say, hey, I never had a problem with that drug. I never had negative symptoms or wicked withdrawals from that medicine. And my response to you is be grateful, be thankful. There are so many people today who do go through hell and back over pharmaceutical drugs. So you have to understand that if it's not you, if you don't relate to this, if it doesn't apply to you, don't dismiss what someone is saying. Don't dismiss their story. Don't dismiss when someone says, I was flying high on gabapentin. Yeah. Don't say it doesn't happen, because each person is different. When I was given gabapentin, and this is just an example and one example, I was in a bad place. You don't just take a person off of Cymbalta, this big, fast, abrupt stop of medication, and you just discontinue it. And mind you, they're suicidal, they're not well, and they have too much serotonin in their body. And then you give them Prozac, oops, just a little too much serotonin again. And then you decide to do a fast and furious taper of Ativan, and then place them on gabapentin. It's no wonder I was flying high. So for you people who don't get it, all I can say is, you could research it, or you could be understanding, or you could be compassionate, or maybe you should just scroll on by. But for those people who do get it, you are the people who I'm really reaching out to. My videos are for you because you understand, because you've been there, you've done that, and you're suffering, and you want it to end. And so what I want to say today is, if we keep doing what we're doing, and we become the complacent, the passive patient, and we just let our doctor tell us what to do, and we don't think for ourselves, we don't research it, we don't check into potential dire implications, then we're putting ourselves in harm's way. The lesson I learned is to advocate for myself, to not just agree with anything and everything the doctor says. I have a mind of my own. And let's remember, each physician, while they may have an incredible background, and it is admirable, their professional background and all that education, I admire them for that hard work, for getting that board certified degree. It's excellent. However, that doesn't mean you're God. That doesn't mean you know everything. That doesn't mean you're exempt from making a mistake. And while I have experienced some interesting physicians, and that's a whole other story, I've learned a lot. I've learned that I need to listen to my gut intuition. When there's a little red alarm going off saying, warning, I need to listen to it. And so today, consider, if you are not having any benefits or very minimal benefits from your medication, why are you taking it? If you are having negative side effects, if it is causing you great danger, suicidal thoughts, if it's causing a change in your personality, if it's giving you other secondary symptoms. So you're given one drug for one thing, but then you need another drug to add on top of it because now you have heart palpitations, migraines, and high blood pressure. Maybe you need to think about it. Maybe you need to end medication madness. And while I'm not a physician, and this is my little disclaimer, I am not giving you any medical advice. I am only sharing my personal experience. I can't cure you. I can't tell you what drug is good or bad or how to taper and so forth. But what I can say is, and this is only from my learning experience, we each have the innate ability to heal on our own, independently, without any drugs. We have the innate ability to heal naturally and gently. And it's been such an amazing process. And while it was an uphill battle, it was lengthy. I mean, we're talking, it's been 10 years now. I mean, wow, it's a long time. But who I am today isn't who I was back then. I'm a wiser person. I am empowered. I'm educated. I have learned a lot about life, a lot about what really matters. I've seen things in a new perspective. And while I can still admire a physician for their education and their knowledge and their experience, I cannot minimize my knowledge, my experience, my personal journey that I have learned valuable insight, incredible insight. And so while it may or may not relate to you or pertain to you, or maybe you have family who's suffering right now with some potent chemicals and you're not sure what to do, I always say the first thing is to understand what you're dealing with. What is this prescription? What are the pros? What are the cons? Is there a black box warning? Now, if there's a black box warning, say for benzodiazepines, Cymbalta, or other medications, you need to take it serious because there are a lot more implications involved. And while it may not relate to you, it may not happen, one never knows, you need to understand what you're dealing with and what are possibilities. And so what we do is we start asking questions. We start digging for answers. We don't just go to one person or one website. We really become resourceful because it's this resourcefulness that can help us become empowered. When we have knowledge, it gives us the power to make choices and to take actions. And so this leads me to an inspiring quote by Amelia Earhart. And she says, "The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity." And looking back today, I'm thankful that I stopped medication madness in 2011. It is now 8 years free from Cymbalta. It is now 7 years free from Ativan, Prozac, Adderall. There's a lot of drugs, and I'm not even going to get into all of them, but you get the picture. That it's been 7 to 8 years of ending medication madness. And while the journey was challenging, and at times I felt like I was literally in hell on earth, it has taught me some very wonderful lessons, and I've gained wisdom, and I've come to see that there's gentle ways, there's non-medical ways that we could increase our quality of life. And so today, while my heart breaks for so many people who are suffering, I want to continue advocating to build awareness. Please today, understand what you're taking. Take back control of your health. Put yourself in a position where you gain more insight, more education, and more knowledge. And thank you so much for subscribing. Check out DanaArcuri.com, and I wish you wellness in your journey of healing.